Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Don't Blame Me, the best podcast ever, tied with
But am I wrong?
But Am I Wrong? And you might think you're a little biased. Yes, we are. Did you think we were going to get up here and say, call her daddy? I chose violence. Someone messaged me and told me that their villain origin story was finding out that the girl from Call Her Daddy bought a house in LA in 2 days. And she goes, and I've been watching you try and buy a house. And I'm angry. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Me too.
One day.
But maybe. Or we'll move to Atlanta.
Just talking about that with my other set of friends.
So what's the game?
So everybody's down. So
everyone's
maybe
down?
we just all move and everyone works in the industry. We just start our own thing.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper to shoot in Atlanta too.
We can essentially just like transfer all of our friends who work in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if if they don't want to leave, we can replace them. Mm-hmm. It'll work.
It'll work.
Know? Our hair will look great. I will have to sell my Dyson Airwrap.
We can all buy houses on the same street. We could probably build our own houses, like from nothing. Just buy the
people
land.
keep suggesting that I do that in Los Angeles. And
Where?
I'm like,
so
where?
You're going to buy a house for $1.8 million, knock that house down, and then build your house. Mm-hmm. And then it'll be in a neighborhood where the house isn't supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Okay, got it.
Right? Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Or I could just move to Santa Clarita.
Because it's only 20 minutes away, right?
It's only 20 minutes away. I will never be over it. Here's the thing, everybody. I love your suggestions. Southern California natives who are suggesting like places. I am from California. I've also lived in Southern California for like 10 years. Mm-hmm. Literally 10 years.
I've been here 10 years too.
Wow. So is Knott's. Isn't that crazy? That like we've all like, but we didn't all cross paths at that time. Right. We were all here, little babies. But you're not going to introduce me to a place near LA that I've never heard of before. Like, and when you tell me I should move to Whittier, that's not Los Angeles. When you tell me I should move to Chino Hills, that's not Los Angeles. When you tell me I should move to, again, Santa Clarita, not Los Angeles.
Did you hear that song that went viral?
The Riverside song?
No, it's about Atlanta. That's not Atlanta. And it was hot for like 2 days, but she was like naming all these places that are part of like the Atlanta metro area. And she's like, that's not Atlanta. That's not Atlanta. And they were saying they need to make a LA version of it.
That's like so wholeheartedly how I feel. And like, I just need people to know that you're not going to let me know of a place that I've never heard of before that like is like nearby where we need to live. Bolder statement. If you live in Whittier, you cannot tell people who live in Los Angeles that you also live in Los Angeles.
No, you don't.
Because you don't. Like you can tell your cousins from Ohio that you live in LA. You can't tell people from California that you live in LA. Mm-hmm. You can tell people from Fresno that you live in LA. I'll settle for that. But it's the same thing that I felt like growing up when I would like meet kids at camp from like, oh, I'm from Daly City. But then they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm from San Francisco. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Like, yeah, I'm from right outside of San Francisco. And they're like, oh, and they start getting nervous. And then they let me know they're from like Daly City. Or like Mountain View.
Means,
and I'm like,
but
no.
I feel
Mountain View's even closer. But like, just very much like, no. So I appreciate it. And we will not be moving to Orange County. I'm not moving. Can you imagine?
I cannot imagine you in Orange County. You would fight. Like every day. Every day you would fight. You would be in a fight with someone.
Here's the thing. We need to contain my fighting to the internet. Do you think I will physically fight people?
And the thing is, because you would blend in so well with,
I'd be the greatest fighter.
They would be confiding in you, and then you would immediately fight.
Yeah, I could play the long con. Here's the thing. I would need to develop some patience, though.
It's not going to happen. I wouldn't want that for you.
No, first of all, it's too late. Like, I'm too old to develop a trait such as patience. And like, no. But like, no. No. I've already said this before. I'm already downgrading for a lot of things from Marin to Los Angeles. And then there are better things about Los Angeles than Marin. But like, you're not going to catch me going anywhere. Like, you're not going to catch me going to a suburb, a non-liberal red suburb of a coastal California.
Also, OC is so far away. I don't think people realize how far the OC is from LA.
Like, here's the thing. Like, Disneyland is far. Disneyland is far away from us.
Yes.
And still, when I'm like a friend in town, we can go to Disneyland once. Imagine commuting to Disneyland.
I mean, I've, wanted a Sonic drink and I've driven there.
Truly. You literally have to like essentially cross states to get to a Sonic here. No, but like, and I think that people think because like I work from home for like a large majority of like the pandemic, but like out of the pandemic, I literally have to drive all across town in LA every single, like I'm in the car for hours and I'm not leaving a 20-mile radius. Like you're fucked if you go out past that. But I think LA is also a unique city in the sense that like there isn't necessarily a city center. So like you can go to like downtown, I guess is technically the city center, but like
I think mid-city is technically
that is true.
Yes.
Mid-city would be the city center. But like it takes you an hour to go from like Santa Monica to Hollywood. And like that's still like an hour commute, and that's LA.
It's technically not LA, though. Santa Monica is its own city, but it gets lumped in because it's part of LA County. Santa Monica is not LA.
No, when people tell me like, oh, just this place is 20 minutes outside of LA, I go, no, that place is 20 minutes outside of the farthest point of LA that I've never even been to, that I don't even consider LA. They're like, move here. It's only 30 minutes from Van Nuys. And I'm like, I've never been to Van Nuys until this year.
I had an production office in Van Nuys once, and that was all. It took me an hour and a half to get there. Also, where like the headquarters for Penguin Random House on the West Coast, that's LA. It's the furthest northwest point of technically LA, an hour and 45 minutes when I went there. No.
So people just don't understand the commute aspect that like wherever you move, it's going to be a minimum 20-minute commute. But like that's like within LA. So like it's going to take
20 minutes. It's like from me to you. And we're only 1.3 miles away from each other, I think.
So the notion that people are like just move a couple miles outside of LA. No. I will never see Mott's. He will be like ever. Like he will be up in the morning. When he used to work across town, like in still LA town, like he literally, like, it was so, he would have to leave at like 6 a.m. and get back at like 9:30 to like miss out on majority of traffic. And that's like 8 miles away.
Yeah. When I had an internship in Malibu, I would just hang out in Malibu until like 8 or 9 and then go home. Yep. Except for the days where I had class at UCLA. That was another nightmare.
Everyone who's not from LA is like, we don't care. It's fine. Let us complain. Okay. Yeah.
It's like that skit that used to be on SNL.
The
405. Marina Del Rey.
That's Mott's favorite. Like he thinks it's like, he laughs at that like someone who doesn't live here and talks exactly like that. I'm like, you're laughing too hard. Like that's us. You know that, right? You should feel personally attacked. Okay, we're an advice podcast where we give you advice, and it's not about taking the 405 to the 101. I'm not good at it because like I have no sense of direction, so I couldn't tell you what highways go to what highways.
I don't think the things that they were saying even made sense anyway.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Take the 5 to the 101 to the 405 to the 10.
Then you're going to go a little crazy. You're going to take the 210. Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're an advice podcast. We give wonderful, amazing, life-changing advice. And we are not going to read you to filth. We're not going to be mean to you if you tell us that you're a Pisces or a Cancer, but we give advice that we would give each other. We give the advice we'd like to see in the world. It's tough love. It comes from a good place. But we are not afraid to call you out on your bullshit. So that's why you called us. And if you're angry about that, you're not someone who called. You are just a Rachel.
Can I read a review?
Oh, God.
It's a negative review. I just want to...
Can someone leave a positive review, please?
This one is old-ish. It's a little
I know
old.
that people like our podcast. I obviously know it. We talk to people all the time. But the people who hate it just love to tell you.
But this one, I want to say it because I want to address some of the things that they said.
Oh, I'm excited.
So this said, give callers the benefit of the doubt. I call in and misspoke a little because I was nervous and only had one take. First of all, that's incorrect. You can call in as many times as you want. A lot of people do. Also, we've said numerous times to write things down and practice it. I was immediately called out and I cringed listening to my episode. I couldn't even finish it. Well, it was the last call in the episode, so... I think by listening to the rest of what I said, it was obvious that my intentions were good, and I wish I was given the benefit of the doubt as just a person seeking advice. The thing is, when we give advice, we can't really give the benefit of the doubt. We have to go by what you say. And if you say something offensive, which you did, then we have to read it for what it is. We can't just think your heart's in a good place because then our advice wouldn't be honest.
Also, I thought you didn't listen to the whole episode. I thought so this is so odd. Also, we give unbiased advice. We don't know you.
Right.
I don't know that you're not racist.
Exactly. That's the whole, we don't know that if you were racist or not. And if you were racist or even not realizing that you were racist, then we should be able to, call you in for that.
Thank you so much for letting me know that was the incorrect terminology.
If I was perfect, I wouldn't be calling in to an advice podcast.
That is true.
Right. Not everyone has the same vocabulary and choice of words as y'all. But you said that you were nervous, so you misspoke. So, you
agree. You misspoke.
Yeah.
So you agree. You think you're really pretty.
I said the word normal, and it was taken in the context that not everyone like me isn't normal. That's the definition.
Yeah. Yep.
Nope, I just meant that I don't have any special circumstances in regards to my call. That in itself is offensive.
That's the same thing.
Yes.
Same racist sentiment, different font.
Yeah, you're just doubling down on what you said. Also, I recommend listening to the call twice because sometimes the facts from the original call are messed up when giving advice, making the advice less meaningful. But you only listen to the first thing we said. So how do you know what advice we gave?
Also, I will add that there are times that we edit this out, but there are times that we will be like, wait, what did they say again? And then we will go back and listen to do that kind of stuff if we are unsure about something. But we're not going to listen multiple times to try and decipher your tone and your meaning, but to try and infer something that you're not saying,
Yep. And I think it'd be helpful to reach out to callers that have been selected for an episode for more context if needed. You have 3 minutes. If you write it down and practice, all the context should be there. That's not on us. That's on you. We have to take the call for what it is.
Also, there's no amount of context that makes racism not racist.
Right. And then on top of that, we also do updates. So if you had a problem with what we said, you could have said, hey, I want to call in and, do an update and follow up with what I said. And who has the time to sit here and call everybody that calls in?
Literally. You're calling us.
I think if I was allowed to provide details that weren't captured in my short call, it would have been received better and the feedback would have been greatly approved. You also had a whole minute and a half left, so you had time to give the rest of your advice. My advice to anyone calling in is to include as much information as you can fit without making it obvious you're the caller and reiterate important facts. Again,
it's almost as if we say that.
We say that every single episode. It's also in the show notes to give as much information as possible. You have 3 minutes. Write it down. It's there. And it's also verbally said at the beginning and the end of every episode.
And we stress it, and even in calls where we're saying, we wish you gave more context here, please do. Like, that's what we want. But like, we assume that you have done your due diligence when calling into the show. And so when you say something that you don't include information, or you don't say something or whatever, most of the time when you don't include certain information, like, we have to infer that there's a reason why you're not including something that's incredibly obvious. Like, and for this, again, there is no amount of context that changes this. And like, just take the L and just be like, wow. Also, I didn't even explicitly immediately notice that that's what they said until you said it. And it was like, oh my God.
It was offensive
great
to
fucking
me.
point.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, checking my own privilege at the door, that like, that wasn't something that flagged in my ears. And that was something that when I heard her say it, just kind of glazed over. And then as soon as you said it, it was glaringly obvious. And I'm like, oh shit, my bad. But like, you can't get defensive with this. Like, we're all gonna make mistakes. We're all gonna say something that is going to inevitably, like, again, we live in like white supremacy and patriarchy, like, world. Like, it is ingrained and taught in us, our own internal biases, the language that we use around this. White women, we're gonna fuck up. And like, there's no way that you can improve. Like, it doesn't matter if you accidentally hit someone with your car, you hit someone with your car. Like, impact versus intention, like it doesn't matter. And nobody truly deep down wants to believe that every single person is like an absolute horrible murderer, menace, like absolute, like terrible, like worst person in the world. No one necessarily wants to believe that, but that doesn't mean that those are the only people you should be calling out. Like, accidentally saying something that's harmful, you don't get points for being like, no, I'm not spewing hate speech constantly, so like, I should be fine. Like, you get to be checked for all spectrum of like fuck ups. It's just, you look so goofy.
Yeah.
Like, you look so goofy, and like, you're just like, you did nothing for your case except double down that I think you're more racist now than I did before. It's like when people like slide into my DMs and like, or just respond to my comments and like use me as Google. And I'm like, I would never have the balls to do that to somebody else. Like, I like do not want to inconvenience anyone, but just thinking that's like, even like with like the but am I wrong, where it's like, I'm not even gonna bother to like word count check this. I'm like, oh my God, like, what? Like, yes, we're putting out content for you all, but like, we created like boundaries and parameters and guidelines. And if you're just gonna ignore them, like, you're not, to quote my own book, I'm like, you are not special. Like, why do you think that you can just like hop into this like thing that is established, that we have worked to create this thing and we have told you what to do, just to be like, fuck it. And then be upset when we're standing by the thing that you neglected to do. And you're like, I really wish I did that thing. They should tell people to do. We did. Every day. Every fucking episode.
Multiple times.
You're kidding me. Multiple times. I know I say a lot, but like, come on.
All right. Should we get into the update?
Wow. If you all want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Please convert it to an MP3 before you send it to our email address so it is compatible. So you need to keep it under 3 minutes. You will be cut off. If you are sending a voice memo, you'll be cut off by us, and we are not going to play it. We're not even going to go through the first 3 minutes. You're just not going to be. It's not going to happen. And if you are calling the phone number, Google will cut you off. So we ask that you, here's again, who's definitely not listening, write down everything you want to say. Provide as much context and details as possible. Give ages, pronouns. Let us know everything that is important and fundamental to the advice we give, because the more information, the better advice we can give.
And practice it a couple times.
And time it out, because if you get nervous and you want to read it, that's the thing. Don't do bullet points. Literally write down everything you're going to say and then practice. And we've had lots of people who have done callbacks or have called back like after a couple times have been like, you know what? I thought I was better than that and I'm not. And it's so much more helpful. So literally write down word for word what you're going to say and then just read it. And you will notice, if you pay attention, that the best calls on this are clearly being read. Like, and it's obvious, and like, we prefer that. It doesn't make you sound stupid. It doesn't make you sound goofy. It doesn't make you sound bad. Like, that's like actually our preferred way to do this. And if you're sensitive, you need to let us know. But also, if you do something really horrible and you're sensitive, like, that's a personal failure on your part. Like, if you are a sensitive Pisces, like, maybe you shouldn't have done a hit and run. Like, not my, like, maybe you should have thought that ahead of time.
and we have reported you.
Yeah, maybe you should have just been born later. Like maybe your mom should have crossed her legs and you should have just stayed up there instead of trying to burst and free.
Oh, Megan.
I know. Okay. Anything else that we say before?
Let's just get into the update.
Oh, yes.
All right. So my call was basically that I went on a cottage trip with my friend and we all had to get tested for COVID beforehand. That was kind of the requirements. And she had lied that she got tested. She said in the group chat, I got my negative and we're good to go. So once we got there, I only found out 2 months later that she had actually lied about getting tested in the first place. So my question to you guys was kind of just, do I confront her? And I wanted to confront her because it had been bothering me, but we've been friends for like 10 plus years. So I wanted to kind of keep the friendship at the same time. So you guys didn't really know how to navigate that, but you're just kind of saying to tell her, but also just say that you disrespected me, but also say it nicely so that she would, and just see how she takes it basically. So I sent her a text. I said, hey, like, just want to let you know, like, I found out about this information and I felt really disrespected and I just wanted to see what she had to say. So she basically answered and said, actually, I told someone this in confidence, so you're invading my privacy by knowing this information. And she was like,
this is a HIPAA violation.
And she told this to her ex-girlfriend who she cheated on. So I'm like, this girl doesn't owe you anything.
Also, like, privacy, like, she obviously doesn't care.
Well, it affects me too, but also like, she doesn't need to keep your secrets anymore. Yeah, and she said getting tested goes against my beliefs. And she just basically was like throwing back at me every time. Like, you hang out with your friends and you hang out with your boyfriend and you don't make them get tested. Like, I didn't see why it was a point, like what the point was and stuff like that. So she just acting like a child, threw everything back at me. And we haven't talked since. And that was in May. So,
oh, wow.
Since that text, we haven't spoken. And she gave a mutual friend of mine, like every single photo, like film photo she had of us, gave them to a mutual friend to give back to me. So I guess that was her way of saying, like, we're done.
Hipster dramatic moves.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how people just, once you confront them about one thing, they show their true colors completely.
And it was just funny because, like, I was like, I'm going to be the bigger person. I'm going to try and stay friends, even though I'm mad at you. And then she said, oh, no, we're done. So.
Wow. I mean, that's how it goes sometimes where, like, you know, people disrespect you. People, like, do shitty things. And you're like, you know what? I'm, like, a mature adult. Like, and I can take a step back and, like, see this relationship. And, like, you know, I want to see this through. I can put this work in. And then it goes, oh, wow, you disrespected me. And I, for some reason, and I do this too, where it was like, I thought that, like, that was an isolated incident. And then it goes, oh no, I guess that's who you were. And it all comes crumbling down.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, for sure.
So I should have taken your advice and been a little bit meaner, but I'll know for next time.
At the same time though, like, as much as, like, being petty and being an asshole feels great, sometimes it also feels great that, like, when you are, like, extending an olive branch or, like, you are being nice and then they just, like, absolutely blow it up in their own face and you go, you look even more stupid. Because, like, when I come at you with fire and you come back with fire, that's expected. But, like, when I come at you with, like, a peace offering and, like, oh, like, kindness and you come back with fire, like, you look so much worse. Like, it looks so disproportionate. Wow. So is she in the part of, like, the truckers convoy? Like, yay, freedom.
Well, that's the thing, because you guys are saying, like, this was back in January where it was before we were all vaccinated and stuff. So it's like you didn't really have those stances. Like, in a group conversation, she wouldn't say anything and she would just kind of, like, not say her political views at all. But then it was actually from one of your Instagrams where you said, figure out who your friends follow. It was, what's her name? Like Candace Owens, who followed, check which one of your friends follows her. So I did, and she did. So I was like, oh my God. And that's literally how I realized.
Yeah. There's nothing more illuminating than when you see a Canadian following, like, alt-right American politicians.
She's Canadian, she's a woman, and she's lesbian, and that's why I didn't expect it, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
It came out of nowhere.
Dude, that's always bad, you know, it's wow.
Yeah. So you helped me figure it out, actually. So
God. Well, I'm happy for you, but also, it's a rough go of it. Well, I mean, I applaud you for, being the higher person. Usually we want people to take our advice, but like being like did I say higher? Better taking the high road than being like the bigger person. Yeah, words are hard. You still got to have that satisfaction of this was the right call, that she essentially did it for you.
Exactly. Like I tried my best, but I'm not missing out on much anymore.
Nope.
So
you're not missing out on anything
at all.
Especially now.
It was a long friendship, but it's like that was enough for me to be like, ugh, I do not want to be associated to you at all.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
No. And now you got the truckers convoy, and now is not the time that you want to be associated with those friends. It's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
Well, thank you for giving us the update.
Of course.
And I hope you have many more wonderful cottage trips with people who are vaccinated and who don't follow Candace Owens. And take better film photos.
Yes.
You know? Better ones.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Stunning.
Great.
Absolutely stunning. You know, radical Canadians. Them Canadians.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, like, I think we idolize Canada a lot when in
I
reality,
don't.
like, no, but I was going to say, in reality, I don't think that the sentiment is incorrect. I do think the logic is incorrect, because I think the logic behind it is Canada is marginally better than the United States. So, like, it is achievable. Like, I think if like we're like being like Denmark, we want countries that are like even like relatively more leaning socialist. Like, we're pretty far from that. Like, I think if we aspire to be like a Canada, like, we have problem. Like, it's not this utopia, but therefore I think it's more plausible. So that's my logic behind it.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Canada. Okay. So
Canada.
Is that the song?
Yeah.
Okay. I always think of the song from the Princess Diaries. Genovia.
Genovia.
You know who loves that movie?
Mott's.
Yeah. He saw it and he was like, the movie's great. And I was like, I know.
I've probably seen that movie a million times. That was a very popular movie in the Mott's household. It was something that all three of us girls and my mom loved. So we watched it.
It's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Julie Andrews, like, it's just well done. And I stand by it. Anne Hathaway's best role. Best role. Except I did love her in the Ocean's 8.
That's what I was going to say. That was going to be my next one. I was like, I think Ocean's 8 might be number 1, but that is definitely number 2.
Yeah.
And 3, if we count the second.
Princess Diaries 2, with Chris Pine.
Written by Shonda Rhimes.
Yep. Okay, so we are going to get into the calls.
Hey, Meghan and Melisa. Alrighty, so I'm just going to get straight to the point. I was listening to one of y'all's episodes, and I heard Meghan talk about how she doesn't like being around drunk people, and so I thought maybe you guys could really give some insight to the situation that I've been dealing with. So basically, me and my boyfriend are both finishing up our first year of college, and I made a promise to myself right when I was beginning that I would get the full freshman experience, and that does include going out, drinking, and partying. And so far, it has been so much fun for me. Like, I don't have any regrets about doing that. But my boyfriend has always had this dislike towards drunk people, always. It roots from his family getting too drunk at restaurants and like him having to drive them home and his mother embarrassing herself. There's a lot of history behind it, so I totally understand where he's coming from. But he has always supported me and never said that he wants to hold me back. So he lets me go out and do my thing, and then he just chooses to take a different route. But here lately, I noticed that, the next day I'll try to show him, funny videos, and I'll try to show him, I'll tell him all the stories about what happened the night before, and he will not be interested. Now, he hasn't told me, oh, I don't really care about that, but I can just tell from the way that he responds and, the way that he acts, that truly the things that I found funny the night before, he doesn't find funny at all because he doesn't think drunk people are funny. And I get that. But I just need help on how not to be a bad girlfriend in this situation because we definitely are hanging around two different crowds, and that's not a problem for us at all. We've always had separate friend groups, and it's worked great for us. But I just need to know if I am being a bad girlfriend by telling him what I did the night before, or if that's the right thing to do, if I need to keep on explaining what I did, even though he seems to not care and, not really think the stuff that I thought was fun is fun. So he's never been evil about it. I want to make that clear. He's never been cruel. He's never told me that I make bad decisions. He just lets me live my life. But it's just definitely somewhere where we see differently, and he doesn't like to be around my friends because they drink. And it's just something that I need help on how to be a better girlfriend in this situation, and if I should stop telling him or how I could have these separate lives without making him feel uncomfortable. Thank you guys so much. And Megan, if you have some insight on this, please let me know because I feel like a jerk sometimes. Thank you guys so much.
I'm sorry, but you are being a jerk.
I want to say, I mean this in the kindest way possible because you sound very nice. But even if you take out the drinking aspect, like, I want to ask you about your day, but like, I don't really want to see videos of your, like, that's not really much substance to a relationship. And it also has nothing to do with the both of you. It's like, there's nothing more annoying. Again, even when people are all sober involved, that they're like, oh my God, the funniest thing happened yesterday. And you're like telling us, and you weren't there. Like, it's just not interesting. And like, I understand that like drinking and partying can kind of feel like you've described it, like your first year in your college. And it's like, you're describing this as like two different lives. When drinking becomes kind of a personality trait for a lot of people when they first start drinking. Hello, I was definitely one of them. But like, you're not really being a girlfriend. Like, you're not really having any like, if all your conversations and stuff is just like telling about the things that people did yesterday and like the stupid videos of them drunk and all of that, like that's just not a lot of effort put into the relationship. Like it has nothing to do with either of you. And like, there's a difference between like, he knows you went out the night before and it's like, oh, how was it? You're like, oh, it was really fun. And it was like, and if there's something that like is actually interesting that happened, you're like, you're never going to believe it. Brad Pitt walked into the bar. Like, tell him that. But like, if it's like, oh my God, like Kelly did a keg stand again. And then she fed like, I mean, even like, you know what I mean? Like stuff where it's like, it's just not that interesting. It's like showing someone pictures of your vacation that you weren't on.
This is, I want to explain why I say you're being a jerk, because you said that he's been traumatized from,
oh yeah,
his childhood of having to like family members drinking too much in public and him having to drive home. And now you're showing him videos of people that are doing the same things that are from his childhood trauma. So imagine something that traumatized you as a child, and then he goes and records it and shows it to you. How awful is that? That's just not
and it's being
nice.
Used as like, how funny is this? But like when you have trauma regarding something, even if it's like you're not showing your friends fighting or like someone having to drive them home, like the whole everything around that is soured and like becomes triggering and traumatizing. So it's not funny or fun for him at all. And like you're doing it for you. Not him. And like he doesn't have to be there. You have other people that you could show that.
Yeah, you're like,
to.
Look how much fun we were having. Which most things that are funny to people when they're drunk is not funny when people are sober. And then sharing it with someone that wasn't even there is not enjoyable. So like, just talk about a few like things that happened in the night if he asked you how things were. I mean, like share how much fun you had, but you don't have to go into the specifics. And I just think it's jerk behavior to re-traumatize him and think it's funny.
Yeah, I think that you might be like thinking that because this is something that he's not involved in, that you have to inform him so much about your life. So like he's not like worried, but he seems from what you've said, like he's totally fine with you going out and drinking and is like okay with that. But he's made the active choice to not participate and also not be around that. So you don't need to bring that home.
Yeah.
Like if there's any point where he starts to feel uncomfortable with you going out and drinking, that is his responsibility to tell you. That's not your responsibility. You don't need to go above and beyond by like making him feel included in something he has actively taken himself out of. And like, I don't know if part of you maybe feels like you want to make sure that he knows that you're making better decisions or you're making good decisions and all of that. But like, he's with you. He knows that you're going out. Like, you don't need to do any of that. When it's traumatizing, it's traumatizing. Like, it doesn't, he doesn't need you to like reassure him through that stuff. And like, again, I can't explain enough that like, even without all of that, it is just so uninteresting and not fun.
I think about how much fun I had in college, drinking and partying and going out. And I know there's videos. We've destroyed a lot of them. Luckily, there wasn't like YouTube around until like later college. So like, and no, there was no Snapchat. Thank God. Facebook was very simple. You couldn't even put videos up on Facebook at that time. But we've destroyed a lot of them. But I know if I go back and look at them right now, they're going to be obnoxious and not entertaining at all. Like no one needs to see that. No one needs to see that at all. And I think that like this is actually like you have a really wonderful opportunity here to prevent drinking and partying excessively from becoming your entire personality, which kind of feels like an inevitable for most college age kids who are partying, that you are going to be able to foster a relationship that is like completely separate from all of that. And like, I think that's great. And also if you find yourself, this is not a read, this is coming from personal experience. But if you find yourself that like all you really want to talk about is the party you went to the night before and all of that stuff you want to do the entire night, blah, 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 constantly, that's kind of a red flag that like you start defining yourself by who you are when you are drunk and the circumstances you're in when you're drunk, the things that you're doing, the people you're with and all of that. And if even sober, you and all your friends start really like putting that stuff as like the funniest, the best, the most wonderful part in all of that, we start romanticizing. Inevitably, we all start to kind of romanticize who we are when we are drunk. And that is like a very, very, very slippery slope to having an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. Yeah. I mean, I was there. Oh, that was 100% me. 100% me too. But, you know, I grew out of it. But it's just something to look at. I think that it's possible for a lot of people to grow out of it. Recognize early on that your relationship with alcohol, your friend's relationship with alcohol, your boyfriend's relationship with alcohol, even if it's not him consuming it, are predisposed by their genetics and are by their life circumstance. So how you view it is not going to be how everybody else views it. And you also just need to be really aware, everyone, when you are drinking, yes, pay attention to how other people are handling their alcohol, but really pay attention to you and like how you are, because I think a lot of the time we look at everybody else to like as our vantage points of like where we fall on that. But we drink too much. Yeah. Like as a society, we drink way, way, way too much and we romanticize a lot of that stuff and it's not good. And I think you've got like I said, a really great opportunity to have that just be one small aspect of your social life. And it's not just your social life is drinking and then your school life. Like you have your sober social life as well. And I think that's great. Yeah. Next call.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I am 24, almost 25, and my pronouns are she, her. I am a single mom. I have a 1.5-year-old, was never married to the father, broke up shortly after I had him. I have downloaded a dating app and I have the profile like 50% done, and I have no idea how to finish it. I have 2 selfies, and I want to add more pictures of myself full body, but all of my pictures that I have right now are of me and my kid because that's mainly what I do with my life. So I was looking for some advice on how to start using a dating app. I don't know. I've never dated like this. I was in a relationship in my last one for 5 or 6 years, and it was crazy and not the healthiest, but I'm getting better and working on myself, but I'm slowly adjusting to the idea of starting to date again, and I have no idea what I'm doing, and I need help, and I'm it's so nerve-wracking, the idea of using a dating app. So any tips, just general advice for using a dating app and how to go about that? And yeah, that's it. Pretty easy question. Thank you so much. Bye.
I mean, I think that if you are comfortable, I think you should have like a full body picture with your kid. You don't have to show your kid's face. Like you can block out your kid's face or cover their whole body or whatever. But I do think that like it should be there because like you said, like that's like your kid's your life. Like that is like your vast majority of your life. And dating as a single mom, like your kid is not your entire identity in your entire life, but like your kid is a huge part of your life. And like, I think that you would be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't share that. I don't, not in like the sense that like disclosing that so people know, but just like, it's a wonderful thing. Like being a parent, it's a very hard thing, but it's also like a really great thing. And like having somebody who loves their kid so much and is like, so like their primary caregiver, like incredibly involved in their life, like some people might not be their thing, but for other people, like that's the biggest green flag ever. I'm sure it's like hard, but I think that as long as I don't know, I think the good thing about dating apps is you can kind of like get that conversation out of the way in your bio and in the photo. So you include the photo and you're like, and yes, that is my daughter or like my son, I don't know, my kid.
Yeah, I mean, there's a place where it says, do you want kids or have kids or whatever? And you can just mark that you have kids.
Yeah. And then I think that like, then once you have that kind of out of the way, it can be a conversation piece if someone like brings it up, but like you can kind of focus on just dating and not having it be, they already know that you're a single mom, you know? But I mean, my formula, 2 selfies and a full body with the kid, I think I think it's perfect.
I think at this point on most of them, you have to have at least like 5-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do 2 selfies back to back. I would do like a selfie. Then I would probably picture with kids, second photo. And then you could do another selfie or then a funny one and then round it off with another selfie. That's what I would do. If that's probably not 5, but like.
Yeah, you could have another full body without the kid and ask a friend to take the picture or set up your camera and put the timer on or set up the video and then play the video and take pictures of the screen.
Yeah, I also think that like dating apps are a great point now that like once you have a couple photos of you, like including something that's like funny. Like I loved when people would have like a screenshot of like something like fun, like something that it's like, but you've already got enough pictures of them, but they're trying to meet the minimum requirement. Like, you know what they look like and they're showing your personality more. I think that's like the best way to kind of utilize dating apps is because everybody's got faces. Like everybody, like we're all looking at pictures of people, and what's actually distinguishing the difference between them is their personalities and like who they are. That's not necessarily something that everyone is great at conveying through photos, but I think that the way you'll have the most success rate is if you can convey your personality through your profile. So therefore, you're doing a lot more vetting before you ever meet these people versus like, oh, I'll just see how they're like in person. And then your personalities are completely mismatched.
Yeah, I agree. I think, just more so you're kind of psyching yourself out of the dating apps. Like you want to date, but you're like, I don't have enough information. I'm only 50%. I'm very of the mindset that you need to be very intentional about what you want to do with dating apps. Because some people, you might just want to be on there because, and this is just a general thing, just because you want a boost in your own serotonin and you're just on there because people are swiping and you're like, oh, this person thinks I'm cute. This person thinks I'm cute. And that's fine. You could be on there just because you want to casually date. And if you just want to go on dates and just hang out or have another adult to hang out with, then, great. But be clear about that. If you want to just be on there to hook up with people, be clear about that. If you actually want a relationship, be clear about that. So, yeah, I think the picture thing is the least of anything. I think that the substance that's in your profile is more important.
Yeah. And I think that if you can look at it on the way that the job resumes that you cater it to each job that you're looking for, this isn't catered to the people that you were trying to that you're not trying to be someone or have your profile fit the mold of what you think people are going to like. You just be you, be all of you, be as candid, be funny, be whatever like you feel comfortable with, and like that is the most you. And the right people will find you. The right people will swipe on you. That's I mean, maybe not all of them will be the right one, but like your responsibility is to not make yourself like palatable and like presented perfectly for these other people. It's for them to see you and be like, wow, this is great. This is awesome. But like, just don't mold it to what you think people want to see. Cause like, that's like anytime I was helping my friends dating apps or whatever, I was like, you are so clearly like, this is not your personality. This is like not you at all. And like, they're going to be you. And like, you're going to have to like keep up a facade for months. Like this is not, and you're doing yourself a disservice because there is somebody out there who is like, lived like who you really are is like their fucking dream. But if you don't express that, you're going to match with all of the wrong fucking people. And you're going to be like, what's happening? And I'm like, well, your profile is like not you. Like you're so
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Illa, one of my friends was looking at my dating profile, and she was like, she was basically saying I need to present something that wasn't me at all. And I was like, first of all, your relationship track record is not good.
Like that's not the advice I want.
Second, like I'm not gonna put information that's not true just to attract more men, because then it's gonna be someone that's not into me, and it's just fake. I'm not here to be fake. Like I'm looking for a relationship. I'm not here just to cast my net out and just catch whoever falls in. No.
Yeah. I remember I had friends who would always put like looking for something casual, even though they weren't. And they would always put like drinks. Yes. And like, even if they didn't really drink, because they were basically trying to like catch the widest net possible and not have anyone rule them out. And I'm like, you're putting so much more work on yourself then. Yeah. Like, so you're going to have to weed through and work through all of these people. But then also like, you're going to then feel like an asshole because you feel like you led them on to someone who's not you.
Right.
Like, why are you giving yourself more work to do? Like, this AI works pretty well. Like, it does a pretty decent job. But I will also say, like, when I was on dating apps, I definitely swiped on people who had kids and were holding kids. And sometimes it was like, this is my niece, this is my nephew, like, this is my kid. And always say in the description that is your kid, if it is your kid, because it's always a little odd when it's not. But when I looked at that, I never like looked down on anybody who had a kid. At this age, if I was single, it's something I would definitely like consider more. But like when I was younger, I was like, no, not ready to date someone who has a kid. Like, and that just has to do with responsibility and age. So I also don't think you. Oh, you're 24, almost 25. So, okay. Last piece of advice: look out. I don't know where you are in location wise, but do look out for, and in a bad way. Like of those older guys who their kids are in college, they understand the dad thing in that kind of sense. There can be a lot of that like silver fox and shining armor for like young moms.
Set your age parameters.
Yeah. Set your age parameters. And like the whole notion of like, oh, young people, like there is a range. And also me as a 18 to like 20-year-old who wasn't ready to like be with a guy who had a kid is very different than like a 25, 26, 27, 28, like 30-year-olds. But anyone over 30, you're 25. Anyone who's 5, 6, 7, let's say 7, 8, 9 years older than you, even 6 years, they shouldn't be interested in, not in you because you have a kid, but in the reason why they're interested is probably a little bit yucky. I really hate that like trend of like that silver. You see that. I mean, to be fair, you also see that a lot on YouTube of like teen moms who end up getting with a lot older men who have kids who are pretty much their age. And it's uncomfy.
Yeah.
Megan, do you have to make everything about age gaps?
Anyway, should we take a break?
Yes, let's do it. And we are back from our break, and we're going to get into the rest of the calls.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I love the podcast. I'm calling in for some advice about a situation I'm in with my boyfriend. So I am a 22-year-old female, she, her, and my boyfriend is 21. He uses he, him pronouns. And then there's another person's story. We'll call her Tiffany. I think she's 21, she, her. So basically, my boyfriend and I have been in a long-distance relationship for the past 4 years while we've been in college. And we've always had really good communication and trust. Like, I've never doubted him or worried that he was going to cheat on me during that time. And part of the reason is that we're both very honest with each other about, like, if other people hit on us and we're out or anything like that, people, you know, act like they're flirting with us, things like that. So for the past year or so, this girl, Tiffany, I've actually met her several times when I've gone to visit my boyfriend. So I've met her several times. She's always been really nice. But then recently, especially a lot in the past few months, whenever there's some kind of event at my boyfriend's school that she's also at, she talks to him a lot, flirts with him a lot, and he's made it very clear to me that she seems to be interested in him, despite her knowing the fact that he has a girlfriend and despite the fact that she's met me several times. So I was just kind of wondering how I should approach the situation. I'm getting a little angry because I feel like she's blatantly disrespecting our relationship. And then in turn, him allowing her to disrespect our relationship is him disrespecting our relationship, even if he's not reciprocating her feelings or acting on it in any way. So I was just kind of wondering if you had any advice on how should I approach this, if it's, you know, uncalled for me to ask him just to not communicate with her at all or, you know, talk with her at all at these events. But yeah, any advice would be really appreciated. Love the podcast. And we're Capricorn and Leo combination. Just saying that because I know you and Moss are also. But okay, thanks. Love the podcast. Bye.
I am a little curious if you're the Leo or he's the Capricorn. I don't know. Maybe because you said it, you know that we're that same combo. Maybe you're also Leo, but I don't know. I think you know the crux of the issue is like him allowing it because like this girl doesn't owe you anything. I don't think it's like out of pocket to like be like, can you just like not hang out with her and talk to her in that way or like ever? But also, I'm just curious kind of why this is raising red flags in you, because if he was as uninterested in her as he says, like he wouldn't have any instances in which they like spoke, would be like so few and far between. It would have been like a one-time kind of thing. And I think that like men think like that they've like really gotten our heads about like women are crazy. Like, let's be honest. Most women, if they find out that a guy is like completely not interested, they're not going to keep like, pursuing it. But so like usually you're getting a little something to make it think that that door is not completely shut. And sometimes guys are like, well, no, she knows I have a girlfriend. And I'm like, but how are you acting? Like, are you acting like you're still inviting this? Or are you using that as kind of an like, sorry, I have a girlfriend, instead of being like, I'm not interested, you know? Like,
why is she around so much?
Why is she around so much, especially if he doesn't like her?
Why is she around when you're not there? Why is she around when you're there? Like, in what situations are you together? I'm just confused. Here's the thing. If she's made it clear that she's interested in him, as you said, has he made it clear that he's not interested in her? Has he said point blank, hey, I have a girlfriend, which you've met several times. I love her. We've been together for 4 years. I do not want to be with anyone else. Please leave me alone. Has he said that?
Yeah. So here's the thing. You've been together. It's a 4-year long distance relationship. You have all been in college together. There is a reason why you feel differently about this than you have had before. Like there's a difference, and from what it seems like, from what you said, like you very open communication. So you tell each other when someone else flirts and all of that. The reason why you feel different is not because you've met her, but because of how he talks about it. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're reading into it. And like, there's also a reason why it's 4 years in. He's known this girl. She's gone to school and that she's known you, met you, has been nice to you, and now is suddenly disrespecting your relationship. And it's because you're not only is your boyfriend allowing her to, he essentially gave an invitation to do so. Yeah. Like, you don't start off like that. Like, I don't want this to be like mean at all, but like, he has most likely left a door open in like, whether it's complaining about you, whether it's just kind of like being like, ugh, or whatever, like, and like making shit up. Like, I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong or bad at all, but like, he is given somebody who has met you, who knows you, who's always been kind to you, has been prior respectful of your relationship, because no one is doing this for 4 years. Like, she's not doing this for 4. She has not. This has been the last couple of months that she has now, she thinks that she knows something that you don't, that like he has let her, he's opened that up, and like he's now telling you, and he's banking on hiding something kind of in plain sight. And it doesn't mean that he's cheating on you, but it means that like he is welcoming and inviting in this invitation, and he's making you be the one to tell him to not talk to her so he can then vilify you, as opposed to him just being like, yeah, I'm not interested. Like, but the fact that this has repeatedly come up, like he wants you to have to tell him that so then he can retaliate. I think.
If he's not interested, then he needs to say that he's not interested, because obviously he's doing something to make her think that he's interested. And you said that he's disrespecting you by not making that clear. Yes, he is disrespecting you. I mean, she sounds like she's not a good person because she knows you exist and she's still pursuing your boyfriend. She's not a good person, but she's not the one that you're in a relationship with. He is.
Yeah, she doesn't owe you anything. And like, even though she's been nice to you before, again, vast majority of the time, there are absolutely evil women out there. Absolutely evil women. But most of the time in these situations, the other woman has been fed a story in which you have become the villain. Men have made this more palatable, and they have reshaped it into making it something where they feel like they are not only special, but they are, oh my God, she's so bad, she's so awful, that you are actually the villain in that story. And when someone has feelings for you and is like very clearly, obviously into you, and you have a partner, if they're actively pursuing you constantly enough that you feel like the need to tell your girlfriend, like that's uncomfortable. That would make you uncomfortable. And if you're not a horrible person, you wouldn't want someone to feel like to continue to put themselves out there and like continue, like that's embarrassing for both of you. And it's just like uncomfortable. You can't, it's not fun. Like when someone you like likes you that you don't like, you're just like, oh my God, this is like, oh, I feel so bad. This is so like, oh, it's not a sustainable thing. No. So like he has not made that clear to her. I think he's done the exact opposite.
There's no way that they're going to all these events that they're going to where she would think just from going to these events that he's cute and I want to be with him. They're having some types of conversations. They have to be. It's not just like he just sees her while he's passing by. They're talking in some type of way.
Yeah.
He's not being truthful. He's being disrespectful, and he needs to be upfront. If he wants to be with you, he needs to be upfront. And I don't think he's being completely upfront with you or her.
This is what I would do. I would talk to him about it. I would ask him to be honest. I would be like, come on. And if I can tell that it's just not adding up, because again, like there are only so few instances in this that like men have banked on the fact that like we women turn on each other constantly and so very fucking quickly that like they can paint us to be the villains, that they absolve any sort of responsibility. And that's what constantly happens. But like, if you've only ever seen her at events or whatever, is she stalking you? Like, but you're not saying like, there are these extremes here, but like women are not crazy unless you're talking about someone who is like actively stalking you. Are you worried for your safety? Like, do you have access to help? Are people been alerted? Like you can't have this like middle ground kind of thing of like, she's obsessed with me without explaining what you're doing. So I would also reach out to her, ask her, send her a message or something, and then watch his reaction in the next couple of hours when you realize that she has reached out to him to tell him that you've reached out to her. And you can clearly see that they've spoken, they're in communication
than they appear,
that he's letting on. And also gauging her response to that, 99% of the time, women are going to look out for other women. And I was going to say, if you are dating someone if you have like a secret thing with someone, it's either because you are like, you like being the other woman, other people, or you have been manipulated to think that like, it's a horrible relationship. You're already breaking up, like blah, 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 blah. It's bad. But either way, either one of those reactions, you're going to be able to, you'll know, you'll be able to gauge what that is. And like that the very slim chance that she is actually stalking him and it is like really sketchy and like bad, that will be abundantly clear in her response. Like you will be able to tell and get a read from her. But I think your boyfriend is banking on the fact that like he has been faithful and he has been like so overtly honest and telling you things that you would never have known before and letting you know that like informing you so much that it makes you feel like he's not hiding anything. When that is, I mean, that's how like, you know, get away with so much shit when you're a kid, right? Like I'm going to tell parents about like all my other friends and doing all of that stuff so I don't have to talk about me. I'm going to like, there's a way that you do that. And he's banking on that being his like record of credibility. And you are also doing that. But like your trustworthiness and your record of credibility that's irrelevant. Yep. Absolutely irrelevant. You don't get bonus points that you have like not been a shit before if you're being a shit now. Like, no.
I don't trust either then.
I don't either. And I think it'll be abundantly clear the second that you talk to her about it. Even if she doesn't respond, I think you'll see how his reaction is. Even if he doesn't say it to you, but you'll be like, just suss it out. Or does he have a really nice friend who you love? Like a friend who maybe is like the guy of the friend group who kind of gets picked on the most by all of them and is kind of the butt of the joke.
I personally would keep the communication with the boyfriend.
Yeah, but you're less messy than me.
I know.
It's a skill and a
talent. I like other people's messes, but not my own. Yeah,
that's
but
true.
I think if you force him to tell you the exact truth, then it's going to be the actual truth.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, because it just doesn't add up. But
no. Nope.
Anyway, next call.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I'm 29 years old and my pronouns are she, her. I'm calling because I need some advice about my partner. His pronouns are he, him. He's 27 and we've been together 3.5 years. 2 years ago, my partner was staying the night at my place and had dropped his phone from the bed. He has his phone set so that the screen doesn't switch off unless you physically push the lock button. So I woke up before him, so I went to make coffee and I saw his phone on the ground. So I went to pick it up and put it on the nightstand and saw that it was open to a paused porn video. When we first got together, my partner said that he used to watch porn but no longer did since we'd been together. At the time, I was mad because I didn't understand why he needed the porn since we were very sexually active, and he'd explicitly told me he wasn't watching it anymore. He had a lot of opportunities to tell me that he still was, as we're pretty open about our sex life and what we like and what we don't. At the time, we chalked it up to a misunderstanding about the porn, and he apologized profusely for lying to me about it and swore up and down that he wasn't going to do it again. So I forgave him, and we moved on. Now, 2 years later, we live together, and we recently got a dog that tries to eat everything. One morning, I woke up and saw that his phone was laying on the bed next to him, and our dog was trying to grab it, so I grabbed it before our dog could, but saw that the phone screen was again paused on another porn video. At this point, I understand more why he watches the porn, and so the watching of the porn doesn't really bother me anymore. It's more the issue that he lied to me about it, and that it was an issue that he said he wouldn't lie about anymore. So I confronted him once he woke up, and he again apologized profusely for lying to me about it. He said he felt awful and feels horrible about continuing to watch it, and asked if I could forgive him again. I told him that I don't understand why he felt the need to lie to me again about the same issue, why he felt he couldn't tell me, and that above all, I feel hurt that he lied to me again about the same issue he promised he wouldn't. I also asked why he's still watching it, and he said he isn't really sure, and he does it when he's bored. At this point, I'm just questioning if I can still trust him not to lie to me about this or really anything else. Am I stupid if I just let it go and stay with him? Or am I not valuing myself enough if I just let it go? I don't really want to leave him because he's my person and I love him more than I've ever loved anyone. But I also feel like your person shouldn't keep things from you or do things behind your back and lie about them. Am I overreacting? Any advice you both could give me on how I should handle this situation would be greatly appreciated. I love you both and I love the show. Thanks in advance for any wisdom you can provide.
We have strong feelings about porn.
Mm-hmm. Very pro porn.
As two women with a podcast, actually kind of an unpopular opinion. Yeah, I think, hot take, this is coming from somebody who does not watch porn. I think you should assume everybody watches porn.
Yep.
I think you should always assume everyone watches porn. And I think that the conversation around porn is a shameful topic, which is why people lie about it. And even the terminology you used, you kept calling it an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not one ever to say, like, especially in like a heterosexual relationships when it's a woman calling about a man, that I'm like, well, have you given him, is there a reason why he might have felt the need he needed to lie and hide it? Like,
because she's shamed him. She's shamed him every time that he's watched it. She shamed him about it. Why do you need to watch porn when we have an active sex life? Like, why are you watching this? Why do you have this? Why are you lying about it? Because you've shamed him.
And that's like when we bring shame into porn, we're bringing shame into sex. And like, that's how sex workers get incredibly disrespected. It's because we're treating this thing as like dirty and not okay and something that needs to be kept quiet. And it's also how people start exploring dangerous versions of kinks. It's like, it's really not good. And porn is only an issue when it starts affecting your own sex life or their mental health. And that's something that they don't want to participate in anymore. That it hasn't been like doctrinated by like wild Christian, like that whatever the fucking one we were talking about before we started recording. But like, yeah, those ones. Like, but like there is an even.
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the magical millennial.
And I'm the dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Before he started dating you, like he's saying that like, oh, I don't watch porn. But like, if you've ever had an open conversation as a woman with a man about porn, there's so much shame. Like there is the first time Mats and I ever talked about porn, I was like, oh, I don't care if you watch porn. He was like, really? And I was like, no, I don't care. I mean, like if I'm home and I'm like, you know, not like, I would always like to know if you're like in the mood, like let me know ahead of time. But like, if you're like home alone or you're like, I'm working, like I've got my period or like I'm whatever, like go for, you don't have to tell me, you don't have to ask my permission. But like, if I'm home and you're choosing porn over sex, like I'd like to have a conversation as to why. But also like, I also think that like choosing masturbation over sex is like also not something I personally take offense to. Like if it's a repeated kind of thing, but like there are times where I'm like, I do not have the energy of sex, but I can have the energy to like quick solo session. Like every form of like sexual expression or like anything involving like arousal that doesn't necessarily have to lead to like an orgasm or whatever. Like there's such a huge fucking range of that. There's like, do you want to have sex with a partner? Do you want to have a one night stand? Do you want to have sex with someone you love? Do you want to like fuck? Do you want to make love? Like, do you want like, there's so many different like versions of that. And there's also just like, I need a release. Like I need
to relax. Like, I need to go to sleep. I need to wake up. Like there's so many different, I just want to feel euphoric for a second. Like there's so many, you don't have to,
well, when you make it about you and your relationship, you make then watching porn as a personal failure. And you make, I hate saying that like you push people to lie about things, but you do. When you don't create a safe space for someone to be honest or to express themselves, or you create these, I'm going to call them unrealistic standards. And when you attach like meaning to someone watching porn as like an issue in your relationship or something with you, that's something that you personally need to work on. And I don't mean to be an asshole. If you have an issue with your partner watching porn and they have no issue with porn, there is no like, and this is a very hot take, people have very strong feelings. If porn makes you insecure, that is, I love you all so much. That is not your partner's problem. Like it's not. And like, if they are doing something that repeatedly makes you feel disrespected, makes you feel bad about yourself, you are more within your right to ask them to like take a hiatus and break from that while you go to therapy and you work on your stuff. But like the solution to your insecurities is not other people. It's not. Like it's just never going to be. And it doesn't mean that you have to suddenly not become insecure. That's not what I'm saying at all. And I think it's also really important why we should talk about porn with our partners. You should know what kind of porn your partner watches. You should know what they're watching. And you should have a partner who feels like sex workers should be compensated, who feels like sex workers are human beings. And if you don't talk about these things with your partner and you make them feel like they have to hide, then they start hiding on the deepest, darkest corners of the internet. And they're on some nasty fucking shit. And they can't be honest and truthful with you. I know that you said that like, you've grown up and like porn doesn't really matter as much to you anymore or anything like that. But like, have you had that conversation with him?
Yeah, that was going to be the next thing. It seems like you just assumed that he knew that you were okay with it and you guys haven't actually talked about it. Because if you've talked about it and he knows that you're fine with it, which I don't think you are. I think you're just saying that you are. Then he wouldn't have to hide it from you. Unless that's his kink, where he likes to be caught on purpose. Which I don't think that's what it is.
I don't think so either. But I also think that, like, if there are pitfalls of, like, our current modern day porn industry, and not like the OnlyFans porn, but like the lack of pay, how things are going about, and like just, but the solution to making sure that porn is ethical is not banning porn, and it's also not villainizing porn. And when you disrespect sex workers and the porn industry as a whole, and you make it about that being a dirty, gross thing and that being a bad thing, you are also inadvertently, and this is a bold claim, but you're also inadvertently putting all of you're disrespecting women. Like, you truly are, because female sex workers get the absolute shit end of it compared to men. Like, absolute.
There's a
and
stigma
then not even
and a double standard that goes with it.
Yeah, and not even like speaking on trans sex workers. Like, the amount that, like, you are fostering a man to hate the women and the things that he's getting off on. And like, there are times where, like, yeah, it can affect your life. It can affect your sex life. And like, sometimes men can have unrealistic standards based on like the porn that they're watching. But your sex life is great. All of this is great. So then why does he need this? Like, no, it's clearly not affecting your relationship. Your issue is the lying. But I think you really dislike porn a lot more than you are letting yourself recognize. And I don't think that if you can take a step back and recognize that, like, you have given him, like, that he can't lie about this anymore and but like, I don't think your reaction when he's lied has been good. Like, it's hard. And I will say too, when people have like shame about stuff, and like, I don't want to say training people to not lie anymore, but like, when you tell someone, like, I really don't want you to lie to me, what you have to say is like, I really want you to come tell me the truth, and I'm not going to be mad, and we can practice it, and it can happen. And then you have to fucking practice what you preach. And like, it might take a while. They might continue to lie about some certain things ahead of, like, prior to that before. And like, it's going to take a while because they need the trust to build back both ways. The same way that you need to be able to trust them, they need to be able to trust you, that you're not going to like absolutely lose it on them for this thing that is like very normal and very healthy. But again, if we keep shaming all of this shit, we keep putting it to like that dark shit, the percentage of the porn industry that is horrendous is only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get more unregulated. It's only going to get more dangerous. And like, you can be an insecure person. I'm an insecure person. I'm a depressed Leo, so I really ebb and flow. But like, porn has absolutely nothing to do with me. Like, that has nothing to do with me. And when you make it have something to do with you, you also make your partner feel like they've failed as a partner. And that becomes an even deeper pile of shame that once you start feeling like you failed, you're going to start acting in ways you're like, well, I already failed. Well, I already fucking sucked.
Right.
You're not setting anyone up for success in that sense. And if you want to date someone who doesn't watch porn,
it's going to be far and wide to find. Like, that's hard.
Well, and I will also say, as someone who, like, I never really read into, like, why so much, like, I didn't watch porn growing up. And, like, my therapist was the one who was like, no, never, like, not into that. I was like, no, it makes me uncomfortable. And it was our couples therapist, and Mox was like, she doesn't even like watching people kiss on TV. And she was like, And then we had a whole breakdown that, like, my reasoning for not wanting to watch porn, and the vast majority of people, because it's just, again, it's your brain chemistry, natural thing that people like get off on watching that kind of thing. When intimacy is like when that's something you're familiar with and like affection as a kid, like that becomes like a very foreign and uncomfortable thing. And so I'm like, the people who are really anti-porn, if you talk to people who are not anti-porn, who like personally don't watch porn, none of us have stories of like, yeah, no, it's just like, it's usually people who like, there's a reason.
Did you read fan fiction that had sex in it?
Oh, yeah. So that's the difference. It's the visual aspect of it. And I also if it was characters I knew, that I had a much better time with. But even like TV shows, even when the couples kiss on TV shows that I really like, I can't watch it. I'm so uncomfortable. Like, I'm so uncomfortable watching it. And I can but I've always been able to read fanfic though.
Yeah. And that's still erotica. It's still a form of porn.
Exactly. But like, when we stop treating this like people are an anomaly for being like liking porn or whatever. Like, it's a biological response that we have. And you need to unpack, everyone, if you have an issue, unpack what your issue is and then work on that issue.
Yeah.
Wow. We haven't had like a pro porn rant in a while, and I just can't wait to read the comments.
Well, we're a little bit safer because we're not on YouTube anymore.
Oh, yeah. Dude, the anti-porners are...
They attacked us. They came for us hard.
They come out with statistics that they make up. Mm-hmm. They come out with numbers and stuff. They come out with shit that I'm like, you do realize you are pushing like literally like alt-right propaganda shit. Mm-hmm. Like, come on. They come out with the Save Our Children shit, like Wayfair. Yep. Like, I'm ready for that.
All right. Well, it's time for Don't Blame Them.
Woo! So this is where a listener will call in with their own advice pertaining to a call we had on a previous episode. So maybe they have their own personal insight or they have their own personal insight. It's pretty much it.
Hi, Melissa and Megan. I'm calling for a Don't Blame Them in regards to Season 9, Episode 12, about the call with a queer girl meeting friends on dating apps. I'm a bi girl with a new girlfriend and a few queer friends. I met both my girlfriend and some friends on dating apps. It's a pretty common thing for queer AFAB people to meet friends on dating apps, and people are pretty clear in their profiles on what they are looking for. It feels like a safe, approachable way to meet other queer folks and form good friendships. Of course, for you specifically, only do this if you have a clear conversation with your partner, and if she still sets a boundary after you explain your intentions, then totally respect that. Other good online ways to meet queer friends is Discord. I know in my city and a lot of other cities, they have an LGBTQ section, and that is a great way to chat with people online first if you don't feel comfortable doing in-person things like joining like queer kickball leagues and that type of thing. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for hearing me out. Bye.
Someone needs to make a new dating app.
We got a lot of messages about this from queer people saying the same thing. So this is very common. They also said y'all straight is showing, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, blatantly, constantly. Yeah. You should hear us talk about dicks. That's the biggest time our straight's showing, when passing around a photo of somebody in gray sweatpants. No, but that makes total sense. Like, but like, damn, someone needs to make an app. I guess I wonder if the hesitation behind it is that it might feel like it could target hate campaign, like people.
Yeah, but I mean, like Bumble has BFF that people use to make friends.
I just feel like we could eliminate a lot of this because that seems great, because I think like instead of going out of your way to try and to meet people and like, let's hope they're not homophobic, like have an app that vets all that ahead of the time. You know what I mean? So you can just like common interest. But yeah, so that was Don't Blame Me, starring two girls, two clearly obvious straight. Starring the straights.
The straights.
The straights were straightened again. The straights are not okay, and the straights are not well. Just so you know, just your two straights checking in daily for your straight update. Straight up, not well.
Straight up, now tell me if you're really gonna love me forever.
Forever. Ow, ow, ow. Well, that's it for our episode. If you want to call in, do it. Give us a call at 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. All the same things we said at the beginning apply. If you want to watch the video version, we're on Patreon for $1 a month, or you could sign up for $5 a month, where we do live streams twice a month. They're very fun. We have a great time. Great way to socialize, meet people, hang out, and follow our Instagrams, our personal ones, but also the podcast. And if you are listening this far, comment down below
your favorite fanfic,
your favorite
porn.
Straight. And why is it Kate Blanchett? Comment down below. You don't have to comment down below your favorite straight.
We get enough attention.
I also, like, so not everyone you think is straight, and then it
That's
can be
true.
It's like when people are like, Lady Gaga, what an ally. And I'm like,
isn't she bi?
Yeah.
She's like very open about it.
People say that about Katy Perry too. And I'm like, I think all of you are okay. It's not want to contribute to bi erasure here at all. Oh, comment down below the best thing you've ever seen in someone's dating profile. Whether it's like a picture, a response to a prompt, like something funny. It can be like horrendous or hilarious.
Did you ever watch the one that I sent you?
Yeah. Yeah, the straights aren't okay.
No,
they're not. Okay, we will see you all next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts and Diamond Imprint Productions.
Edited by Coco Lawrence. Post-production sound by Chris Henry. Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson. Music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Lauro, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.